Hey everyone, welcome back to Teach Gracefully. Today we're going to talk about something that I know I personally wondered many times throughout my career, and so I just wanted to talk about what to do over the summer when you don't know what you're doing in the fall. And I think this actually applies to everybody right now, because really none of us really know what we're doing in the fall, if we're being completely honest. So I wanted to make this video to just give you some ideas of the things that I'm doing over the summer, no matter what happens in the fall. So hopefully this helps you decide what you can be proactive about. So the first thing you can do over the summer is become certified in Google or Microsoft. So both of those have education accounts, and pretty much most schools have that, especially now after digital learning. Most schools are adopting, either they're going all to Google or they might be going all to Microsoft. There may be others that they're using out there, but at least here in Georgia where I am, most schools are either Google or Microsoft. Now my school was Google, and we decided to go full in with Microsoft because our entire county is already doing Microsoft. So I personally don't know as much about Microsoft as I did about Google. So I am doing as many trainings as I can to educate myself before the school year starts, so that I'm not trying to teach and learn at the same time. So if you look up Google or Microsoft educator accounts, you probably already have one from your district, but also there's free training for both. So I highly recommend getting certified in whatever your school has adopted. The second thing you can do to make your summer more productive is to find your pacing guide. I would, number one, if you don't already have your pacing guide, ask around. Number two, if you cannot ask around for whatever reason, then I recommend going and doing a Google search for your school district and the school. They usually have those posted somewhere. If your particular school doesn't have it posted, then look for the district and see what other schools that teach the same thing, what are they doing. Now, if all of those things fail and you cannot get your hands on a pacing guide, then you know what? Make one yourself. So once you have your hands on a pacing guide, or you've created one yourself, then I suggest maybe pulling materials that you can use with that you can supplement. Maybe what I like to do is I like to go on Pinterest and I search whatever the topic is that I'm teaching. I make a board for that particular lesson or unit, and then I search them. And so as I find activities that I could use in that unit, then I post it to that board. So when I'm ready to get to that quarter or that unit or that standard or whatever, I just pull up my Pinterest board and boom, I have like tons of ideas. Take your pacing guide and then start to shop around for ideas. That kind of bleeds into my next idea, but the next one is to collect materials and ideas. So this doesn't just have to be for lessons, but also like your classroom decor. I also like to look up organization because that's probably my weak spot in my classroom. So I like to research that. So I look for things I want to make better in my classroom. So I would start also collecting classroom ideas, classroom management ideas, decor ideas, and that kind of invigorates you to be excited for the next year as well. The fourth thing that I do to get prepared is I go on YouTube and I search up teacher videos, which you probably do that as well if you're watching this video, but I basically like to look up what other teachers have to say about how they have built relationships, or maybe a classroom tour. That kind of bleeds in from the last thing I just said, in where I am always looking for ways to improve, and I like to kind of spy on other teachers and see what they're doing, and maybe that will give me an idea. I do watch elementary, even though I don't teach elementary. I watch elementary and high school because I feel like things can always be adapted, and so I like to watch what they do and then adapt it to my middle school classroom. The fifth thing that I like to do over the summer is create a back to school packet. So every year I like to make those things. So So I usually would make a magnet that has all my contact information, my website, things like that. And what that does is they could put it on their fridge or somewhere in their home, and then if they ever need me, they can easily contact me. I always make my open house slideshow like something that's running in the background. I always make some sort of like welcome one pager where I give information about myself, kind of tell them who I am, give a supply list, things of that nature. Now this year, a lot of us probably are going to do digital open houses. I can't really see them bringing that many parents and students into the building at one time. So I am actually developing all digital materials. So maybe QR codes to go with different things that you could send out. I'm gonna make my one pager digital or PDF. So I'm basically taking all the things I would make for open house, things that I would hand out, and I am going to make them all digitized, if that's a word. The sixth thing that I do over the summer is I think about how do I want to communicate with my parents this school year, and I think about myself. And the reason I think about myself is because I want to stay consistent throughout the school year, and I know that sometimes when things get hard, I might slip up and forget. So I think about, okay, what are like 3 main ways I want to always communicate with parents? I personally last year decided on Remind. The Remind app is awesome to me. I can schedule what I want to send out and plan when it's going out, and I would send text messages every night. The second thing I would do is a monthly newsletter, and with that I had one template and I would just change the background every month. The third thing I did was I would just use my Google Classroom as a way of communicating as well. So I would decide what exactly do you want to use for parent communication and make those things now. Even if it's just a template, you can sign up for an account. You can set up your classes so that they're ready to go. You may not know what you're teaching, but maybe the periods, like first, second, third, whatever. I made my newsletter over the summer. So what you can do is make the template the main template, and then go ahead and copy that template, like make a copy of what you did, and then change the background so that all you have to do is fill in the data, the information that you're gonna put, but just have the shell of your templates of your newsletters already done. So that's a really good one, is to decide how am I gonna communicate this year, especially keeping in mind possible COVID things, and how can I stay consistent, or what's going to be easy. So, and basically plan all of that out. The seventh thing that I like to do over the summer is finding a tribe. And depending on where you are in your school and how long you've been there, how many people you know, this is going to look different every summer and for every person. So in the past, I was in a different school, as I told you in my previous video. So in my old school, I already had lots of friends that I knew for a while. So I would do things with them related to school. Like we might have a craft night where we made some organizational things. It wasn't every day or every week even, but like every so often throughout the summer, we'd get together and we would plan stuff or make things. And it just gives you a good solid community of your own, of people you can go to and trust and build relationship with. Now I'm in a new school and I'm going into my 3rd year, and I feel like I'm gradually making more and more friendships and relationships and coworker associates, or whatever you want to call them. But this year I'm trying to be more outgoing because I tend to be so shy, and I don't know how people take that, to be honest, because I can be very quiet at work. But I am trying this summer to be more intentional about reaching out to people that I feel comfortable with, and starting conversations and finding things that I have in common, because that really does make a difference in work-life happiness, in knowing that you have somebody you can talk to and go to and trust and confide in. So work on finding your teacher tribe. If you are shy like I am, just reach out by text. That's an easy way to do it. Or follow somebody on social media if you're okay with it and they're okay with it. The 8th thing that I recommend doing is revising or creating, if you've never done it, your classroom management plan. If you've never done this before, I wouldn't rely just on what you learned in college. I would also maybe do some research, find out what some veteran teachers are doing in their classrooms. That might help you a little bit. But I would research, sorry, my notes are flying. But I would basically research or create a classroom management plan if you don't have one. I highly recommend reading First Days of School by Harry Wong. I didn't read that until after college, like right after, and it changed everything for me. I do have a video on one of my classroom management methods. I probably will remake that because I have a better understanding of what I'm actually doing. Then I was just trying it as something new and it worked, and now I understand and can explain better, so I probably will remake that soon. But definitely watch if you're looking for something new. If you're a veteran teacher and you're not looking for something new, but you're just looking to improve your classroom management, first of all, I would make a list of all of the things that you think are not working well in your room. If you're not sure, then think about the things that annoy you. Like, what are the things that you often have to correct? Like, do you constantly have to tell kids to sit down? Do you constantly have to tell them to not sharpen their pencil while you're talking? Like, what is it that you find yourself saying all the time? And those are probably the things you want to amend in your classroom management plan or make an actual procedure or plan for. So I am going to make a video about this a little later in the summer, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that you probably want to work on figuring out what your classroom management plan is, and if there's anything that you can make or create to present that to the students and parents, you could do that as well. Also, all teachers probably need to do this for digital learning. We were kind of thrown into digital learning, and I know I personally didn't have any procedures set in place because I wasn't expecting to teach online, but now that I know how it goes and what my issues were, now I can basically make a new classroom management plan if we go online. Number 9, I recommend setting up your digital space, whether that's Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams. I personally am working on my Microsoft Teams classrooms, or whatever you want to call it, as I'm learning. And I highly recommend doing this, but as I'm getting certified, which was tip number 1, as I'm getting certified, I'm also creating what I'm learning so I don't forget it. So as I'm learning certain things, I am adding it to my online digital space. I'm also creating notebooks because I'm learning how to make those, and I'm adding things to it. So that way when school starts, I'm already set, whereas other teachers might come in trying to learn all of this stuff. I already have learned it, I've created it, I'm ready to put my content and teach. So it's getting dark because it's raining outside, sorry. But the glow though, the glow is everything. But yeah, so I would recommend setting up your classroom. I do have a tutorial about Google Classroom, but it's very superficial. It doesn't go into real detail. But if you want a starting place, you can look there. You can also look at other teachers. They have some really good tutorials about Google Classroom. I haven't seen any Microsoft Teams yet, but I also haven't really looked. I will be making my own soon though, so look out for that. So number 10, finally, number 10 is something I touched on a little bit, but it's more of the action behind what I said. So earlier I said that you could plan your classroom decor, how you want to organize it, how you want it to look, maybe a color scheme that you want. So I would then take it a step further and start prepping the things that you can. So I personally have a silhouette, so you can cut out your vinyl letters. Like, what do you want on your board, and cut it out in vinyl. Maybe you want a calendar and you want to make magnets to go on it, you can make those. Maybe you want letters to go across and you want to print those out, cut those out. Maybe you want to laminate posters. So think of the things that you know you want, and then start creating or purchasing, or however you're going to do that. Just start actually putting the materials together so that when it's time to get into your classroom and decorate, you already have everything you need. So I hope that this was helpful in the 10 ways that I personally plan to get ready for next year, even if I don't really know what's happening. And I hope that you can take at least some of these and apply them to your summer if you're looking for something to do towards your classroom. Until next time, teach gracefully. Bye guys.